the white hat. What is a white hat? It's all about data and facts, as we spoke earlier. You're talking about what kind of data would we need? Where will we get that data from? How will it come? Who will collect that? What are the facts and figures? What are the resources to tap to get this information or these facts is all about the white hat. There are two kinds of facts. One is first class or verifiable, and then non-verifiable. Verifiable is probably existing data which you have and you use it, so you can see it, it's tangible. Second class is we think we know. This is probably based on experience, but you don't have hard facts. But no problem, at least you're putting things down on paper. So this is what the white hat will do. So you could probably have a white hat meeting which is talking about facts and data before getting into a project. So what are the roles? You have to start not only collecting facts and data, you have to start distinguishing between the various facts or data that you've got. So analysis also becomes a critical part of the white hat. Pure raw data or information means nothing. If you're able to make sense out of it, that is when it is useful for the organization as well as for yourself a lot of times. So we need a lot of analysis. So your statistical analysis, etc., will also come as part of your white hat role which you are working on. Important aspect of white hat, which is mentioned here, this becomes neutral. Here now we are not using emotions, we are not using opinions or your ego. Facts are always neutral. This is what it is. That's it. So there is no scope for too much of debate here, provided you've got those facts accurately and analyzed them well. What happens in a white hat is also by default leading to a lot of experience sharing. There are two teams, let's say, who are working on a project together from different functions. They're all getting their facts and data and information, probably related to their own functions which are happening. Now, a lot of experience sharing will automatically happen. And you will realize that what you were thinking about that other unit or the other team or department was probably untrue and which was hampering work. So white hat gets people together through facts, information, and analysis of data. Another advantage, ideas will never get favored here because everything has to be backed by facts and data. So there is no concept of my idea is great because it's mine and I've put it forward. Yes, if the facts and data and analysis support your idea is fantastic. If it does not, then yes, it is still fantastic, but maybe not implementable. Maybe it requires much more research to be done. So again, the ego factor gets removed from here, which is the biggest plus point of a white hat. Data throws a lot of new insights. A lot of times we just think about something and suddenly some data emerges and says, oh, I didn't know that. What if I were to tell you in a services or a courier company that the requirement for customers is not for the goods to be delivered to them in 24 hours, but to be delivered intact at the time they want when they are available, even if it takes 3 days. Wouldn't it be surprising? Of course it would be surprising. That's how probably Blue Dart got a concept initially of putting a card that you were not at home, please call back. Right now they're trying to develop on that. So that is probably a white hat idea which came out from that entire thing. Now we come to the black hat. Black hat could be misrepresented or misunderstood, saying it's something negative. Black hat is not negative at all. Black hat talks about giving you the other picture or the other side of every idea stroke project which you are talking about or something new you would want to implement. So you put on your black hat and start thinking. Start thinking caution. Do some constructive criticism, not destructive criticism. So black hat will tell you the pitfalls. It will make you aware, look, this could go wrong over here. So please look at it. Please step slowly. Please be careful before you jump into something. It identifies risk. So perfect black hat kind of a job role would be a risk manager's role, where you're constantly looking at pitfalls and risk which could be there and highlighting them all the time. So it's not a negative function, but it's a negative logic hat which we are talking about. The most important aspects, every organization and individuals have values. So the moment something is not fitting into our values, the black hat comes into the picture, or it should come into the picture. So an idea which could make you lots and lots of money but hey, it does not fit into my values. I will not do it. So black hat will come into the picture and caution you over there. Let's not do this. What is it about black hat? It's not about argumentation at all. You don't have to sit and argue. You're just cautioning people. You're pointing out the risk factors. What could be, what could not be. It also projects a little into the future. Let's say you want to make one big bridge which connects, for example, Goa to Bombay. Fantastic project, a great idea. And on the way, you have lots and lots of small industrial units, and the entire area could link and become commercially very, very, very advanced with lots of job opportunities. Now, a black hat will come into the picture and say, what are the risks? Do I really need to do that? Are there any other better alternatives? What is the cost going to be involved? What will happen if probably, and God forbid, there's an earthquake? How much time is it going to take to make? So this black hat will come into play over here and caution you about a lot of things. This is not used for negative feelings. You yourself could on one day be wearing some other hat and on another day be wearing a black hat. The idea is to do it consciously. So yes, I've got a great thought and an idea. I should at some stage put on a black hat myself for my own project idea and say, look, what are the pitfalls? What are the things that could go wrong probably? Or what is it that I need to look for? In quote unquote, what are the caution items which we are looking at? So black hat becomes very, very important as a control point for an organization. It also very important, we've heard of all the devil's advocate, speaking on both sides. You wear your black hat, become your own devil's advocate. That is the power of the black hat. Some things to remember about the black hat. When you are having a black hat meeting, please ensure that the black hat does not jump in right at the beginning. It will kill the meeting or the ideas or the discussion before it starts. Because you will start by saying this cannot be done, this is a problem, that is the problem, this won't happen. So the whole purpose is defeated. The idea of a black hat coming into the picture is only after probably you've put on the creative hat, or you've brainstormed, or you've put on your yellow hat and got some ideas which you're working on. That is when you introduce the black hat concept, to just look at the other side of the various aspects of a particular project or a job role. Else, your project will never kick off. The other point is black hat should draw a fine line. Now this monitoring is done by the blue hat person, which is the global person who keeps everyone in check. Everyone will be talking about a lot of scenarios and a lot of negativity. Now you cannot get carried away by that and talk only about all the things which are negative and everything possible that can go wrong. You have to take a cautionary approach rather than an adversarial or a negativity approach. That needs to be taken care of. Sometimes black hat could be overdone also. We've tried this in the past, we've done a lot of time, it doesn't work, so let's not do it again at all. This is one of the pitfalls or dangers of using the black hat, probably too frequently or doing it incorrectly. We have to take great care of this aspect. So when you are having a black hat meeting and someone is coordinating or facilitating that meeting, that individual has to take care of these three aspects of the black hat. Now you may well wonder, where was it actually used or not used? Two live examples I would like to give over here, where a black hat was completely ignored and it led to severe disasters. One was the Challenger space shuttle disaster, which went up in flames, killing all the people on board. Now there was someone who had cautioned that there were seal O-rings which were not of the correct specification and design and could cause a problem. However, they were overruled, saying that we could not delay the launch of the Challenger because everyone was in the fray. There was media, there were people, there were expectations. So they just went ahead knowing that there could be a problem with this particular part. And this one small part of this ring actually caused the entire shuttle to go up in flames and crash. Just imagine. So in life-threatening activities, in things like aircraft or large projects or projects with a lot of environmental damage scope, need to have black hat in place. When we are talking about the tsunami which hit majorly most of the Southeast Asian countries and the large earthquakes, there was actually someone there who was part of their monitoring and meteorology department who said the coastline in Phuket is very, very unsafe. And because that was a very unpopular thing, since it runs completely on tourism and tourists would run away, this person was removed from his post. And what happened? So he was playing the black hat role. What happened? There was an earthquake, there was a tsunami leading to hundreds of thousands of loss of lives. And he was reinstated, but only if they had listened, right? So this is the role of the black hat. Now we come to yellow hat. Yellow hat is all about sunshine. We also need a yellow hat happening. There are a lot of times when people are talking about gloom and doom and things not happening or things not working. Suddenly this yellow hat has to come into play very consciously and in a planned and structured fashion, saying what are the positive aspects of a certain project, of a certain process, of certain ideas. How do we implement that? So you're always on the front foot and saying everything is bright and sunny, and that's why the yellow color. What it also does is it's very futuristic. It will say what are the opportunities I have? What is the kind of vision I'm looking at? Can I look 2-3 years down the line and I'll be this, I'll be that, I can do this business, I can grab this, I can get that. So this is a very, very important role of the yellow hat. It will see good parts of even a bad thing. So if someone comes up with a great idea, or he or she thinks is a great idea, and people feel it's not that great an idea, you do a yellow hat session and say what are the good aspects of that particular situation. And it can actually lead you to something completely different, which is much more beneficial. It is all about optimism that something will work, it has to work. You also see positive contributions in everyone, the values which you find is all part of the yellow hat process. People say yellow hat like optimism all around, but it pays. To give an example, there was actually a survey done of people who smile genuinely and smile because it's part of their profession. Therefore, air hostesses. So a normal set of ladies and girls were asked to smile, and air hostesses. Now they found very specific differences in the way they smile. A normal person's smile is very, very genuine, and you tend to get crow's feet, which are these lines in and around the eyes and face, and your face lights up. That's a genuine smile. Vis-a-vis hospitality or air hostesses, where they have to put on a fake smile, which we all call plastic smile. After 30 years, they were assessed and evaluated. All the individuals and the ladies with the genuine smiles were much more happy, with better lives and better careers, compared to the people with fake smiles, that is, smiles which are demanded by their profession. So this itself is a very telling statement on genuine positivity and sunshine in your life. So that's yellow hat for you. Similar experiment was done with undergraduate students with the same results. Every student who were very, very positive with genuine smiles performed much, much better in life and in all their academic life as well compared to the others. People with a positive outlook across professions performed much, much better and were much more successful than people with a negative outlook. So this also tells you that the yellow hat is not only applicable for organizations, is also applicable for you as an individual. If you're constantly putting on your yellow hat, just imagine your life actually would be so much better. Now we come to the red hat. The red hat is all about feelings. How do you feel? Your gut feel, your instinct, your past experiences. I think I should do that. Why is it not happening? I'm passionate about this. It's all about the red hat. Red, the seat of emotions, is what we are talking about. What we'll also talk about is big ideas, mad things to do, gut feel, instinct will all be a red hat activity. Very, very useful. You could also have a red hat session in your organization or in your workplace where you find emotions are not really flowing in the correct fashion or there is some hindrance. You could have a red hat session as well. This brings the emotional perspective to a situation, and therefore red hat becomes very important. Since we are all human beings, we are obviously going to have emotions. How can you ignore emotions? Otherwise, it would just be an automated office with robots. So how do you harness the emotions in a good way to deliver output is what Red Hat is talking about actually. It's not talking about saying remove your emotions. Emotions will be there, intuition will be there. How do you harness it, structured way, and introduce it into your life and into your organization is what it is talking about. To give an example of Red Hat, there is one very famous art collector and curator who immediately spotted a fake painting in a museum when a lot of other experts could not identify it. So he used his intuition. He just saw it and said, look, this is a fake. He did not really have to go through a careful analysis, which they did later and found the painting to be fake. We have Masaru Ibuka, who was one of the co-founders of Sony. Well, what he used to do is, he used to have his tea sessions, and every time he used to have tea, and the way the tea reacted on his body, he would take decisions. Funny, isn't it? But it worked every single time for him. Where if a tea he had at a particular time and it made him feel good about it at that point of time, he would take a certain kind of decision. And he has admitted it as such in various platforms. Intuition. What is intuition? Something just happens. I feel this is going to be it, or this is going to work. That's intuition. We all heard about the story of Archimedes, right? Well, no one really knows whether he literally jumped into a tub and the water fell out and he said, Eureka! But it was the concept of intuition, which we are talking about, where he just felt something, or it was a gut feel, and he came up with an idea. When you talk about Einstein, it is probably said that he just hit upon this idea of relativity before he developed it, when he was actually traveling, whizzing past in a roller coaster or something, and he saw someone standing or walking, and the relative speeds were different. So he thought relative, and that's how relativity, he started working on the concept. So that was all intuition. However, intuition cannot happen without past fields or past experience, especially in a business environment. You just cannot get an intuition about something where you don't have any past experience, which does happen. However, research has actually been done to state that gut feel or intuition or these kind of decisions are much better and much more accurate for people in the same field with experience. For example, a car mechanic will have a much better intuition about the condition of the car than you would have as a driver. That's what we are talking about. So intuition and gut feel also has a lot of value. The green hat, as we've spoken a little bit before, is all about creativity. Whenever you get stuck in a barrier or in a rut, you need to do something different. You need to look at different avenues. That is where the green hat comes into the picture, and it will make you much more creative. Just to give an example about creativity, let's say you've launched a new product line which is for women and women's soaps, and it's doing really well. It's a market leader, the women's soap, and you're just thinking, what can I do next? I'm already there. Sales have started plateauing. Can't you be more creative and say soaps which could be used both by men and women? Now, no one has ever done it till now, but that's creativity, for example. Well, so then you start thinking on those lines. Then you say, how will you brand it? What will you do about it? What will be the campaign like? And suddenly you will find a completely unique product in the marketplace, which is working. So therefore, creativity becomes extremely important. It takes us out of our comfort zones. It makes us think differently. It makes us brainstorm, pull in all your ideas. That's what the green thinking hat brings to all of us. Most important, ideas come from everywhere, and you cannot stop those ideas, nor you should. Listen to everyone, your customers, your people, all your employees, all your office staff, probably people around you, probably people at your home who have just contributed, knowing that you work in an X kind of a place. So we have to look at all of these kind of things and not ignore any idea, because you never know when that big idea or where it comes from. Don't worry about ownership of the ideas or how they got used or did not get used. It is all about contributing, breaking the clutter. So you could have a great idea about another department or product. Never mind, give it, let them use it. The more you get into the habit of a creative flows of idea, the better it is for the organization. So there are some organizations, especially in media or in advertising, have formal sessions which are only creativity. You're only brainstorming, getting creative ideas without evaluating them. And a lot of great things have come out of this kind of a process. which is the green thinking hat. So as a habit, try and spend some time every week thinking about creativity and creative ideas. That is the green thinking hat for you. Now you may well ask, how do I actually use this as a manager or in my workplace? Saying these hats are fine. The idea is to know when to use which hat. You cannot generally use some hat some point of time because it will not work otherwise. Therefore, some examples what you could do. If the group is becoming very jaded, as we said, everyone is doing the same thing in the same way for quite some time and there is no movement, you need to shake them up. So you could probably have a green hat meeting, which is brainstorming, which is creativity, get people to come up with ideas. So it breaks the rut and also take you to the next level, probably as a department or as a complete organization. If the team is discussing a very, very sensitive issue, what is going to happen? There's going to be a lot of emotions flying back and forth and opinions and ideas and sometimes anger and a lot of other things would be coming in. Or alternatively, it's so sensitive that people are not really opening up. So in either of these scenarios, you use a red hat meeting, okay, to channelize all their emotions in a certain direction. So even if there are certain negative emotions, let them come out in a red hat meeting. So people are out with all they have to say or think or gut feel or intuition. So it becomes a very controlled platform for channelizing your emotions. If the team is in a very cozy mode, they are very, very comfortable. They are saying yes to everything the organization says or you say as a manager. Then you start using the black hat, which means you are challenging them. You're countering. You are encouraging them to say, look at the not so great side or look at the pitfalls of a certain situation rather than keeping on saying everything is fine. So you encourage consciously your entire team to think in a what we call the negative logic and not negativity. Please be aware of that. A structured session at this stage of black hat would work wonders. If the team is getting carried away, sometimes you're so excited about all the ideas you've got and everything that is happening and you want to do this and that and everything, you need to have a white hat meeting. Get everyone together in one place and tell them, look, you are a great team, there are fantastic ideas which are there, but now let us evaluate. So the white hat will come into the picture where you are discussing data, you are discussing facts, you are doing a lot of analysis and then trying to arrive at a correct kind of an answer, stroke solution, stroke product, whatever it could be. Otherwise, your resources could get spread out and stretched over a very wide area, which is not at all desirable. If that happens, it leads to confusion, which we spoke about earlier on. The last thing which could happen is a team could become very, very defensive, where they are saying a little bit of negativity, no, this cannot happen, that cannot happen, we've already been doing so well, how can we improve? Marketer's condition is like this, what are we going to do? In this scenario, you need to have a yellow hat session, which is all positivity, looking at the brighter sides, the better aspect of every situation, and a little bit of sunshine. Even the corporate world needs a lot of it. So this is how you would use the 6 hats as a manager. Even if you are right now not a manager, this concept can be introduced by you to work along with your teams, and it works very, very well. So as we see, these are some of the benefits of using the 6 thinking hats. You can say things you want to without getting worried of what will people think or say, because it is happening in a structured fashion in meetings for these specific purposes. It is a convenient mechanism for what we call switching gears. You are going in one direction, suddenly you will find by doing these activities that you actually found another direction which is probably better. So you can do this effectively without your ego coming into the picture. It leads to creative thinking. It makes you much more focused in your work and what you want to do as an individual and as an organization. And obviously, when you're doing so much, your decision makings become so much better. So put on all the 6 hats and have a great time. Thank you.